Hello everybody and welcome to a brand new ESO video with me, Sherman. Today we're going to be taking a look at the new gear sets coming in the Dragon Bones DLC. Not just by appearance, but we're just going to be looking at the stats on them and kind of going over how these can fit into either an in-game build or just a build for fun or just whatever. And we're going to go ahead and start right out the door. So, we're starting with the first set, which is one of the monster sets, Thurviken's The Siege, or Thurviken's set. It's a monster set, it's a two-piece, and honestly, this is a really good kind of tank set. I won't say it's like a super good tank set, but for those tanks that are looking for just something a little extra to bring to their group, like extra health, and then when when a nearby enemy damages you, summon a swirling pool of the desecrated bile for 8 seconds. Enemies in the bile receive 430 disease damage. Every 1 second are affected with minor maim and minor defile, reducing their damage done and healing received by 15%. So, this is the idea. This is a set that's definitely made for tanking. I wouldn't say that it doesn't work for DPS or anything like that, but it's definitely a tanking set because it's when you take damage. 2, it applies minor defile and minor maim, and 3, it's only going to work in certain areas or in certain situations. A tank with minor maim uptime, pretty much non-stop, not a problem. Really good set. In PvP, a tank with an uptime of minor defile, really good. So it works in both PvE and PvP. And it can even help you out in some PvE content with that minor defile. It just depends on the encounter. But if you're not utilizing minor defile with major defile, it's not as effective as it sounds. So reverberating bash, that kind of thing, really plays into this really well. I like the set. I've tested it and used it a few times. And I have to say, I really enjoy using it because that little bit tick of extra damage can really go. You know, even though it's only 430 disease damage, all my stuff isn't, I don't have champion points, attributes, skills, nothing. It's just straight set. With that 430 can go up to about 5 something with the champion points. It doesn't add a lot of damage, but it's just a nice tick of extra damage that it does. So, really good overall set. Next up is the other monster set, which is Zan's. And Zan's is definitely showing some majorly good stuff for damage dealers, especially those who run dual staff, 3-piece jewelry, and a 5-piece set, because it's kind of like if you're running something like, say, Burning Spell Weave, where you get spell crit and spell damage, and you don't have any extra crit. This gives you a little bit more crit with it, and then on top of that, when you deal critical damage with a light or heavy attack to nearby enemies, a beam of fire will connect with your enemy. The beam deals 3,440 flame damage every 1 second to your enemy for 5 seconds. Every second this damage increases by 50%. So it only can happen every 5. It can only last for 5 seconds. And it can only go off every 15. So, it basically has a 15-second cooldown total, but it only has a 10-second space between activation to where the activation ends, and then you can reapply it. That's the only thing that makes it bad. It's still a good set, a really good set, but that's the one thing that makes it bad is that 15-second time. And it's really powerful. I mean, this thing is really powerful. Because dealing critical damage with a light or heavy attack on a magic at DPS is easy. That's a different story. But it's a really good set. I'm not going to lie. Like I said, I tested it. I thought it worked out really well. And it works a lot better on a magic at DK than anything else. But I think that's something that's going to help Magic at DKs bring up their DPS a little bit more, especially when you're talking about like light weaving and going into heavy attack rotation. Depending on the race class combination, it could be a really powerful set for both in-game and PvP. Like, I'm not just talking about, like, Overland, it'd be great. In-game, like, that's where it's going to shine. Alright, moving on to the next one. This is Jovial's Guidance. This is a light armor set from the Dragon... God, I can't remember which one it drops in. But it's the Dragon Priest one. I think this is Scalecaller. Yeah, Scalecaller P. So this is actually, surprisingly, a super, super powerful healer set. A lot of people don't like the fact that it only increases the time of things, but it really does make a huge difference. The 2 magic recovery is really good. The healing done isn't really needed unless you're playing a race that doesn't, or a class that doesn't have a lot of healing, like say the Sork, or a DK. It can be really powerful in a DK, especially because of all the damage shields, all the other buffs that they can apply. It really helps that keep that extension of those buffs, so you're not casting them constantly. The other nice thing about it is, like I said, the damage shields. Barrier with this goes from 40 seconds to like 48 seconds. It's crazy. And then you have things like Warhorn, which does last longer. The effect of Warhorn lasts longer, and all the like major buff it gets lasts longer. But it's not a huge difference. Like 40% of 8% is like 3 seconds. So it's supposed to be, it should be around 4, but it's actually 3. So it's not really that much of a difference, but you can tell there's a difference there. This would be one I would run. Definitely think about running this in game on not the main healer, but the other healer, so they have more consistency of thing. And then that other healer, I definitely have barrier on them, along with Warhorn. So that way, if you need it, you can drop a barrier, boost everyone's thing. So that's a really, really good one for that. But in normal play, it's a really good set. So moving on to Trappings of Invigoration. This is from Fanglair Dungeon. This is the medium armor set. And as you can see, it does the 2-piece is stamina recovery, 3-piece is max stamina, 4-piece is stamina recovery. But the 5-piece is where this set really, really is pretty good. When you cast an ability while under 33% stamina, you restore 8,000 something stamina. This effect can occur every 1 minute. The timer sucks. If it was 30 seconds, I think this would be a better set. But trying to get your stamina below 33%, that's the issue. I mean, that's not an issue. It's that 1 minute timer that makes it suck. Be really good on a final boss encounter, but honestly, it's not that great of a set to if you're looking for in game. For normal play, it works fine. The really high stamina recovery really can help you out. If you're just playing normal content, you know, doing maybe like vet dungeons, that kind of thing, it'll work fine. But if you're trying to do in-game trials and stuff, this set's not going to be like a really good one for that. Moving on to Calurin's Legacy. This is another light set. This drops in Fanglair. This one actually surprised the heck out of me. I didn't think it was going to be all that good, but I say it surprised the heck out of me because there's only certain sets that have the 2 spell crit and spell damage, or 2 spell crit and max magicka. There's only a few sets like that. And for magicka DPS, there's only one real option that most go with, and that's Julianus, to be honest, because it gives you such high spell power. Now, this set isn't bad. It really isn't. But if you're not running, especially if you're not running a monster set, or you're running a 1-piece monster set, this set can be really good. But it's not going to be something you're going to utilize in-game full-time. It might be one that you might equip to play dungeons with, because it does hit like a bus, especially if you're playing any magic DPS. The disease ball is really weird. Like, I don't understand that, besides Nightblade, like, because Nightblades themselves have a lot of disease damage abilities, but that's on their stamina side, not their magicka side, so that disease ball really kind of just stands out. Like, why But then it's all, this whole expansion is about necromancers raising dead and all that kind of stuff. So that can make some sense. The fact that it can happen every 10 seconds is very similar to like what Celine's does. And that's what makes it really powerful, is the fact that the damage itself can be boosted by your champion points from like Elemental Expert, and also the Mighty. So you can boost up both of the disease ball and the other things, but the way they have this set up just seems really weird and off to me. All right, moving on to the next one, Plague Singer. This is the other medium set. This drops in the Scale Collar, and this one is actually surprisingly pretty good. It's not great, but it's pretty good for somebody who wants to get a little bit of extra DPS in their build, and might be running something like Night Mother's Gaze and is looking for another set to run to get them into, let's say, like Hellrust Citadel or something, so they can get another set. This would be a good set for that. Or if you want to like run Maw to get Alkosh or something, this would be a good, like a good set if you're a DPS and you're trying to get one of those sets like that. But basically, the 2 weapon damage on the 2 and 4 piece is really good. The max health really kind of throws this off, and not damage dealers, but tank. That's what I meant to say. It's really good for like an off tank and medium armor. That's why I mentioned Alkosh. Or you're running like Night Mother's Gaze, and you're running this, and because you don't have Alkosh yet, this might be a good set to run with that, because it's going to give you that max health, it's going to give you that 124 weapon damage, 2 things of weapon damage, and then when you take damage, summon a Skeever Corpse, which will launch Poison Ball that deals so much poison damage every 1.5 seconds at the nearest enemy for 6 seconds. This effect can occur every 15 seconds. Now, the timer is a little bit better than that last one that we were talking about, where it had like the 15 seconds, but it had a 5-second, total activation. This is a 6-second total activation, and this is what makes this one stand out a little bit better, is that 1 little second more actually makes a big difference. Now, if it was 8 seconds, it would be a lot better, or but they do 6 seconds, which really does kind of help, but you're only going to do about 5k. Well, depending if you're playing with a lot of stamina on your tank build, or a little bit of stamina like 20k, and you have points in the Mighty, this is where that set would shine for a tank, especially if you're playing a DK stam tank, and you're using like Noxious Breath to keep application of, like, say, the Crusher enchant or something like that. This would be a good set for that, because you apply Crusher, you use your Noxious Breath, get that applied Crusher effect, and it's ticking away, and while it's ticking away, you can get hit, and your Skeever will pop and pop this on them, just doing a little bit of extra damage to kind of get your group through the content a little faster, not by much, because it's really not a whole lot of damage unless you know how to play like that kind of a tank. So, but it can be really good. Next up is Curse of Doilmesh. This is the heavy armor set that drops in the Scale Collar Peak. This one is surprising. Now, this one I wouldn't say is the top set, but it's definitely a surprising set with what they've done, because this is a tank set. 2 things of max health. It also adds weapon and spell damage, which might be good, honestly, for some of the classes, because right now it's becoming, the end game's becoming more of a DPS race and everything, and maybe having tanks running sets like this might help, but I don't know about that in trial situations very well. But in dungeons, this set could be really good. When you're hitting a taunted monster with a fully charged heavy attack, or an enemy who is stunned or mobilized with a fully charged heavy attack, you deal 11,620 physical damage, and this effect can occur once every 7 seconds. That's what makes this set stand out so much. 7-second chance to apply this to an enemy, and it could be good for DPS, but no DPS is going to run this, because it would be either 5 pieces of heavy armor, or it would be 3 pieces of heavy armor, 2 weapons, and a bow from the set. But a tank could definitely run this set and take advantage of that, especially if they were like a Nightblade, a Warden, a DK, you know, Templar maybe could definitely take advantage of this set to bring a little bit more with them to that encounter. Now we do have one more set to look at, and that is the Ulfnar set. And Ulfnar is the other tank set. This one really does stand out. I'm not gonna lie, guys. As you can see, part of Ulfnar's Ulfnar drops in Fang Lair, and the set itself, the 2-piece is health, 3-piece is magic recovery, 3-piece is stam recovery, and the 4-piece is adds healing taken. But it's the 5-piece that really is crazy. Increases the maximum the magicka or stamina your heavy attacks restore by 30%. Now a lot of tanks right now are running like Tavas with Akabari Dragon Guard. I'm trying to remember here. Shadowrun and Chokethorn. They're running that 5-piece or the 2 combinations, so they get higher stamina or magic recovery. With this kind of a set, though, they could drop one of those and just use the recovery from this, and they could actually benefit more with heavy attack resource restore, so they can manage their resources a lot easier. This might be something that they could do that with. Then they could run a 2-piece monster set, you know, if they wanted to, that way, and then they could run one of their jewelry as a magic recovery. This way they get a greater magic recovery with their builds, and then they also get that really good benefit of the stamina or magic restore from their heavy attacks. And that's the 5-piece set. I'll be honest with you guys. I like some of these sets. I think they're really good. It offers new tools for us to use to create builds with. But a lot of sets aren't going to be for competitive in-game play. But to get you into competitive gameplay, or to get you into just in-game itself, a lot of those sets will work just fine. They're not going to be the best options. There's better options out there, but they are something you can use to get to the in-game. And if you just like the idea of it, you can even still use it to get into in-game kind of thing and play the in-game with those sets. It's just that they're some of them just have really bad timing, like timers on them and everything, which can be really bad. So it's really just up to you. And that is pretty much it. I mean, that's the gear that's coming in the new Dragon Bones DLC. Like I said, I'm kind of excited for Dragon Bones. This is the first time we get to fight a kind of a dragon, undead dragon, and the encounter itself is really cool. I love the 2 new dungeons and the mechanics of them. They're a lot more challenging than you would expect because of the dynamics of the encounters, but they're a lot of fun, especially if you can get the mechanics down. You don't have to play the dungeons. Just to let you guys know, to play the dungeons and really enjoy them, you don't have to play them on vet mode. You can just do them on normal and have fun. But if you're looking for a little bit more challenge, vet mode is definitely the way to go. And if you're looking for just a tad bit more, hard mode is there. They do have hard mode for these. I just didn't remember if I saw the scroll or not when I did them. If there's like a scroll or if there's like some mechanic to them. You can check in the achievements in the log here. When it goes live, you can just open up your quest log. You can go into the achievements, and in the DLC there should be one for Dragon Bones. And in the Dragon Bones DLC you can look in here on how to get the hard mode. I don't remember how to do it, but there is a way you can activate the hard mode of these and get I think it's there should be one that says like something. But there is a way you can activate hard mode, and it should tell you in the achievements how to activate it, how to do it, give you some general idea, which I think is really cool. There is some unique rewards in here, which is really cool. But honestly, I'm just more interested about getting my dragon skull so I can put it in my house. That's the one thing I'm most excited for. I haven't tested the bus thing yet, because the few times that I did play through vet mode, honestly, I was just more about testing the build on veteran to make sure that it worked. And so I just would I would log out, I'd do it, okay, the build works, and then just go exit, delete the character, recreate it in some new way, and then go play it again. But a lot of the dungeon content, or the dungeon rewards, these gear sets, the monster sets, like I said, again, are good sets to get you to in-game. Like, if you want to get into doing trials, they can get you there. But they're not going to be sets that I would suggest running trials with consistently. There's a lot better options out there, and some that are going to be way more effective than that if you're going to be looking towards being like a trial player. And if you're going to be a trial player, I hate to say this, but if you're going to be a trial person who plays nothing but trials, like that's your goal, is become an in-game trial player, look to the meta for build, like for that stuff. They're going to have the better setups for that kind of competitive play. But if you're looking for just interesting, fun stuff, some of these sets can be interesting and fun to use in not only trials, but also in overlay. Some of them even seem good for like the RP aspect. So, but that's pretty much it. So if you guys like this video, hit that like button. If you guys want to see more videos by me, you can hit that subscribe button. Other than that, I want to thank you all for watching. Until next time, have a wonderful day, and this guy might see you in game. Bye.